Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. And today I'll finally be doing a new what if on my channel, and this is going to be what if Naruto was a full Uzumaki. And in this one, he doesn't go to the Whirlpool village or anything, he's going to stay in Konoha. But I am going to alter the timeline a little bit, and it's not going to affect the story a lot, but then um, you're going to see later why I'm doing this. So, anyways, let's get right into the story. So, um, basically, this is how the timeline is going to change, right? So, Obito, Kakashi, and Rin are born like a few years earlier. While the third Great Ninja War is still happening, and Minato is also elected as fourth Hokage during the third Great Ninja War. All right, so basically, um, the Uzumaki clan is still alive and well. It's actually like later in the third Great Ninja War that they're going to die, and basically, um, Obito still gets smashed by a rock, and during that mission, and Madara still takes him in, and he still sees Rin die by Kakashi's hand, and of course. The the Nine Tails attack still happens, except since Minato and Kushina actually give birth to Naruto during the third Great Ninja War. That's when the QB attack happens, and it's still led by Obito. So they still have the same interaction with Minato, and Hiruzen still becomes, reassumes his mantle of Hokage when Minato dies. And Minato is going to be a full Uzumaki, of course, because Naruto is full Uzumaki, and he seals the whole Nine Tails inside Naruto because, he believes that since Naruto is a full Uzumaki, he can handle that kind of chakra, which he can. So, and also he kind of senses Ashura's presence a bit more in Naruto. And by the way, don't worry, guys. In this one, I'm not going to give Naruto a wood style, even though like there's literally no reason for him to not have wood style. And the reason why I'm not giving him that is because I want to make sealing his preferred type of fighting. Because in the last what if where I made Naruto full Uzumaki, like when he went back to rebuild Whirlpool Village, uh, I didn't make him use any sealing jutsu. That's so stupid. It was really stupid of me. But then I made him a full Uzumaki, like for what? He didn't even use any of his clan special techniques. So, anyways, this one will be heavily, you know, uh, in this one, Naruto's fighting style will heavily contain sealing jutsu, if you know what I mean. So basically, uh, Naruto's still born, and the full nine tails is sealed inside him, and Minato and Kushina actually have a few moments before they die due to their amazing life forces and chakra reserves. And this time, both of them don't get stabbed by the claw. It's only Kushina's dying because she got the nine tails ripped out of her, and Minato's dying because he used the Reaper Death Seal uh, to seal uh, to seal the QB inside Naruto. So basically, when Hiruzen comes to check on Minato and Kushina after the Nine Tails was sealed, they both were still alive, and they had a few instructions to give to Hiruzen. So basically, they took a kunai and slightly poked Naruto's finger with it. Naruto's crying, but then since he was like a baby, but then it was just a little bit of blood. But then they put his blood onto a scroll, and the scroll was actually sealed by them. Like all their scrolls containing their knowledge and sealing jutsu were sealed inside the scroll before Minato went to fight the Nine Tails, because he knew that Naruto would need it. So basically, he sealed everything inside this, and then when he wiped Naruto's blood onto the sealing scroll, he wove a few hand signs and said, "Sealing Jutsu, blood binding seal." So basically, kanjis came like appeared all over the sealing scroll, and it sealed tightly shut. And Minato actually told Hiruzen that what the scroll contained, and he told Hiruzen to give it to Naruto once he starts learning about how to, learning how to become a shinobi and stuff. So he told Hiruzen to not let any of the council or any elders or any people like that to get their hands on the scroll, because he only wanted his son to have it and it was his dying wish. So Hiruzen will respect that, and he told Hiruzen that Naruto to give Naruto the instruction on how to open it in case he doesn't know. And basically he still tells Hiruzen to treat Naruto like a hero, and he does this all while Kushina's like giving her last words to Naruto, like all that stuff she says, like have good habits and don't become drunk and stuff like that. So basically, Kushina, after she said that, like she was about to die, and she told her final words to the Hokage, and uh, she was like, "Lord Hokage, I would also like you to hear my final wishes before me and Minato pass away." And the Hokage was listening. Hiruzen was listening, and Kushina said, "I want Naruto to be in his grandmother's custody back at the Whirlpool village," and uh, and in Hiruzen, of course, he agreed to this. And right after Minato and Kushina died, he gave Naruto to Kushina's parents, who were living in the Whirlpool village. And obviously, the Uzumaki clan was still, alive at this point, because they weren't wiped out yet. And then the Third Great Ninja War would continue going for uh, like more than 5 years after this. So, anyways, Naruto was given to his grandparents, and um Naruto's he turned out to be really smart, and he didn't even like cry very often, and he wouldn't like uh, show that much emotion very often. He was like a really stoic kid, and then his grandmother actually got worried about him because he wasn't having any of Kushina's traits of being loud and boisterous and stuff. But then Naruto, she still loved Naruto all the same, and Naruto actually learned how to understand stuff and all of that, and stuff like that by the age of 1. Like he was actually able to speak by the age of 1, and then a few months later he was actually able to comprehend what his grandparents were telling him. Like even his grandfather was there. Um, so basically, they would tell him stories about the Uzumaki clan and the history. And Naruto was really interested in this because the Uzumakis were like a really formidable clan, and they would tell him stories, and they would tell him like how powerful their sealing jutsu is, and their ultimate sealing jutsu, which is adamantine chains, which are basically like their Kekkei Genkai. Only like a few special individuals in the Uzumaki clan have it. So Naruto was really interested in this, and a few months later, when he turned 2, he was actually coming back to his grandparents' house, and he saw a little girl actually on the ground, and she was fainted. She had actually collapsed because of hunger uh, and exhaustion. So Naruto actually um, carried her, and Naruto's pretty strong, and like he could carry someone his own age. That's because of his Uzumaki genes. So basically, like, although albeit it was with a bit of effort though, like, uh it wasn't like really easy for him, like, but he was still able to carry her to his grandparents' house all the same. So this little girl was actually Karin, and yes guys, this is going to be a Karin ship, because uh, she's an Uzumaki and Naruto's a full Uzumaki, so you know, clan purity. But whatever. um, so Naruto's grandmother actually decides to take care of Karin until she wakes up. And by the way, I'm not really mentioning his grandfather a lot, because his grandfather was the clan head, and he had a lot of work to do, and managing the clan and stuff. But then he still, like, made time for Naruto, and he would also take care of Naruto. But anyways, he wasn't around when Karin actually showed up, and then Karin actually woke up, a few days after Naruto's grandmother started taking care of her. And then she saw Naruto's grandmother sitting beside her, and she was like, uh, "Who are you?" And then the grandmother was like, "Shh, it's okay, you're safe here. Now, what happened to you? My grandson found you collapsed on the streets." And Karin actually said that um, she was actually she was actually from another village, and her parents had actually moved there from the Uzumaki village. And um, of course, this was a possibility, because the Uzumaki clan, uh, they didn't really have restrictions on civilians, because Karin's parents were civilians, but they're part of the Uzumaki clan. Like, you know how in the Uchiha clan there were some people who were Uchihas, but civilians, like, the shop owners that Sasuke used to talk to when he was a little kid. So yeah, Karin's parents were civilians of the Uzumaki clan, like, basically like that. So that's how they actually, like, moved from the Whirlpool village, to spread their wings a little bit. So anyways, enough of that. They're not really important people. So Karin told Naruto's grandmother, how she was from another village, and this is actually the Mist village. And and then this is where the bloodline massacre started happening. Like, the Mizukage was trying to, like, erase all the Kekkei Genkai users from his village. I don't even understand the logic behind doing that, by the way. It's like so stupid. Like, Kekkei Genkai user are like the strongest shinobi. Like, if you don't have a Kekkei Genkai, then you're pretty much useless, unless you're like Sage of Six Paths Sun reincarnate, who Naruto is. But anyways, that's off the point. So anyways, the Mizukage actually knew that Karin's parents were from the Uzumaki clan, and they had their Kekkei Genkai, like the special type of chakra. And he actually sent Shinobi to wipe them out, and they actually pursued Karin's parents as they made their way to the mainland of Whirlpool village. And basically, on their way back, Karin's parents actually got killed, while Karin actually managed to hide. And you know even though Karin's parents were civilians, like, even the civilians in the Uzumaki clan were taught a few basics, like, a basic taijutsu, and hiding their presence and stuff like that. So it's basically part of their academy. So Karin actually um, learned how to do that from her parents, and she hid her chakra signature. And and then she was not attacked. So basically, um, she made her way to the Uzumaki, to the Whirlpool village, and she was actually like really really tired. She hadn't eaten for several days, and she finally reached the border. And by the way, Naruto's house was actually near the border, as his grandfather actually liked to put it there rather than the center of the village where all the attention is, so that when he finishes his clan work and stuff, he can you know uh, he can have a nice, slightly more secluded life, to get away from all the clan business. So it was actually near the edge, and Naruto actually found her right outside the border, collapsed, and this is when he actually took her to his house. So Karin actually told uh, Naruto's grandmother this, except the part like after she fainted when Naruto actually carried her to his house, because obviously Karin was unconscious and she wouldn't know that. So. Uh, the grandmother actually decided to adopt Karin because she thought that Naruto could use a friend, as his stoicism was kind of um, not a very common trait in the Uzumaki clan, who are kind of known to be more like Kushina, and the grandmother actually you know thought that Naruto and felt that Naruto reminded her of Minato more than Kushina. And by the way, Minato's genes in Naruto are actually a lot stronger than they are in the original, because they're more potent since he's an Uzumaki. So, anyways, um, back to the story. So the grandmother actually decided to adopt Karin. And by the way, guys, I forgot to say, when the grandmother was given custody of Naruto, Hiruzen actually told her that that he had two conditions that she had to obey in order to actually take custody of him. And she was like, "That's nonsense. I'm his grandmother. I can take custody of him." And Hiruzen was like, uh, "No, since he's a Leaf citizen, he's property. He belongs to the Leaf village, and I'm only doing this in order to honor Minato's and Kushina's dying wishes. But this is for the safety of him and the Leaf village, as these two are S rank secrets that might put him in danger if anyone were to find them out." And the grandmother actually listened to the Hokage, and Hiruzen actually told her about the Nine Tails, and to not tell Naruto about him having the Nine Tails and about his parentage. So and Hiruzen was like, "This is because Minato and Kushina have both made several enemies over the years, and also several villages would love to get their hands on another tailed beast, so they might kidnap him for the Nine Tails." So of course, the grandmother actually understood this, and she decided to tell Naruto only when he became a genin in the Whirlpool village, and she actually decided to keep him in the Whirlpool village, and raise him there, and actually have him sent to the academy there and all of that before he was sent to Konoha again. And then by the way, Genin level in the Whirlpool village is actually like a Chunin level everywhere else, because of the complexity of the sealing jutsu and stuff taught in the academy. So, anyways, she decided to tell him once he becomes a Genin, and then so basically, like before that, um, before she enrolls him in the academy, she actually decided to teach him as much as possible, before he actually starts learning on his own at the academy. So of course, once he's two, she starts teaching both him and Karin more about the Uzumaki clan and more about sealing jutsu. and Naruto actually asked her grandmother, "When can I start learning sealing jutsu?" And the grandmother actually laughed at this, and uh, uh, she was like, "You have to unlock your chakra first, sweetie." And then Naruto was like, "And when will that happen?" And the grandmother said that it normally happens for Uzumakis when they're around 6, right before they start attending the academy. Um, and this is why most Uzumakis are enrolled in the academy at the age of 6. And Naruto actually, you know, was kind of put down, and he didn't really let it show though, because he was actually taught by his grandparents at a young age that emotions are okay, um, but then they have to be channeled correctly for a shinobi. And you know Uncontrolled emotions were actually what would cause the downfall of a shinobi. And even though the Uzumaki clan was pretty brash, it was only among themselves. And if when it actually came to real battle, they would actually rein in their emotions and actually control them. So basically, Naruto actually was naturally kind of good at hiding his emotions and channeling and controlling them. So he decided that this he doesn't have to show his emotions very much, since he's going to have them controlled anyways. So he doesn't try to become the center of attention or something like that. He normally keeps to himself, and he's pretty quiet, and he's pretty smart. So basically, this is because he got a lot more Minato. So but then when the time comes, when there's big news that makes him really emotional, he actually does let it show sometimes. But then this is only for really big things, like if he were to become a genin, for example, and pass the academy and stuff. That would actually make him really happy and actually celebrate. But then for small things, when his food tastes good or something like that, he doesn't actually react that much. So anyways, Naruto was really interested in sealing jutsu, and his house actually had a library in it, because his grandfather was a clan leader, and he had all the information about the Uzumakis, in his a lot of information about the Uzumakis and their jutsu in his house. But then a lot of it was locked away, because um, he didn't want his grandchildren get going near them and trying them out, because they could be dangerous. But then Naruto did have access to a few of them, and he actually began to read a lot. And of course, he did know how to read. He learned how to read at the age of 2.5. And he studied as much as he could about sealing jutsu. And he decided that um, as soon as he unlocks his chakra, he would start practicing. And his grandmother actually saw him reading, and then she actually told him that he was reading the books in the wrong order. And there are actually 7 books, and he had to read them in the right order, and in order to understand all the concepts properly. And also, um, actually, he had to master everything in the first 7 books before he actually became someone who could use sealing jutsu in a battle. So Naruto, of course, got started on this. And the first book was about the requirements for sealing jutsu. And the first thing Naruto had to do was practice his handwriting, because since making seals was such a precise art, if there's one mishap in the writing, when the sealer actually writes the kanji for the seals, it could actually do something completely unexpected. So Naruto had to really refine his handwriting in order to actually start learning fuinjutsu. So he started using a brush, a brush and ink, but then he wasn't really getting anywhere. But so basically, he read the book a little bit more, and he found that if he practices first with the pen, it would be much easier to continue on with the brush. So he does this, and then he actually uh, uh, starts developing his handwriting with the brush, and he realizes that the first book doesn't actually require any chakra manipulation to actually learn any of the concepts. So he decides to complete the first book then and there, before unlocking his chakra, so that it would be much easier for him to continue on with sealing jutsu from there. So the first book was all about like tips to improve handwriting, and also it was about you know like how seals are designed, and basically all the theory about that, the circular design, and the lines of symmetry passing through, and all of them were made of kanji. And sometimes seals would also be like linear or rectangular and stuff like that. And then he learned about the different sealing designs and their functions and stuff like that. And he actually got the first book down by the time he was 3.5, and his handwriting now was actually really good. It's not like seal master level, but then it still was really really good. And he would still keep practicing his handwriting, and his grandmother would even give him tips from time to time, on how to improve his handwriting. And Karin, seeing Naruto do this, actually got inspired to start learning sealing as well. And because she actually found it really interesting, and she actually asked her grandmother to teach her more about seals, and she also started learning from the first book with Naruto's, along with Naruto. So anyways, they continue this, like just refining their handwriting and learning more about sealing until they're four. And that's when the event happens. And the Cloud Village, the Stone Village, and the Mist Village all tag team the Whirlpool Village, and they decide to wipe it out. So basically, on this day, Karin was actually right outside the border at the lake, and she was actually catching fish. And of course, um, the grandmother actually allowed this because Karin actually enjoyed fishing, and she also. It wasn't very far from the border of the village. It was literally like just 100 meters. So basically, uh, she allowed Karin to go alone because and sometimes Naruto would come along, but this time she was actually alone. And basically, an Uzumaki civilian, like an old man who was actually from the Uzumaki clan, but he was just a civilian. He actually came to sit down next to her, and he was just like, yeah, talking to her like about sealing jutsu and stuff like that. Uh, whether she plans to actually become a shinobi and stuff. And then and then they get ambushed. So basically, three grass ninja, like Chunin level, uh, they actually come out of hiding, and they actually see Karin and the old man, and they first take out the old man, and because they think he might be a shinobi and they see him as a threat, so they actually attack him. And the old man is severely wounded, and Karin is like, "Well, wait, old man, bite my hand here, it'll heal you." And the old man gratefully bit her hand, and he started to heal. And the grass ninja were amazed, and they're like, wow, this power can be really useful for our village. And then you might be wondering what these grass ninja are doing here. They actually joined the alliance between uh, the three great villages who were going to attack the Whirlpool village, and this was because they actually had encountered a few Uzumakis, and they were actually really, um, they had a really bad animosity between them and the Uzumaki village, which was pretty one-sided because the Uzumaki village could just wipe them out, the Whirlpool village. So. Um, Basically, they were actually sent to scout the terrain and see and make sure that there are no guards or anything like that, and there were none because there's a huge seal placed over the entire village that only Uzumaki's or authorized personnel could actually enter. So basically, these grass ninjas actually kidnapped Karin, and they decided to not tell the other nations about it because they would actually try to kill her or something, and she could actually be a really good asset to their village. So basically, that's what happened, and then basically, I'm saying basically a lot. I'm sorry, guys, but bear with me. So the three nations along with the grass village actually attack the Whirlpool village a few days later, and Naruto's actually out on the streets, and he was buying stuff from the market for his grandmother, as his grandmother was pretty old, and she was actually um, kind of getting tired, and his grandfather actually had work to do, so that left him. So and since like everyone in the Uzumaki clan like trusted each other and stuff like that, and they had like a lot of familial ties and all that shit. So basically, uh, Naruto's grandmother knew that Naruto would be safe, or she at least believed that he'd be safe. But then Naruto actually heard screaming, and he actually saw some Uzumaki clan civilians running while shinobi were chasing them. So Naruto actually trained a little bit in taijutsu with his grandmother and his grandfather. So he actually he is actually like fast enough to actually escape, and he actually fuck, what am I doing? Why am I saying repeating words so many times? Anyways, he ran to his grandmother's house, and he rammed his fists on the door, and his grandmother opened the door with like an angry look on her face, and she was like, Naruto, what happened? And it actually changed to surprise when she saw Naruto, so that's why she reacted like that. She was like, Naruto, what happened? So Naruto, he was like, we're under attack, and the grandmother was like, she actually was like, wait, I'll be right back, and then she went to fight, and she basically came running back to the house, and um, she actually told Naruto that three whole nations were attacking their village, like three great villages were attacking their village, plus a smaller nation called the Grass Village, and there's no way that the Uzumaki clan would come out of this alive, and she had to actually protect Naruto. And she actually knew about Karin's disappearance because she didn't return home for a few days, and she actually led a search team for her, but then they couldn't find her. And this is because the grass ninjas actually covered their trail pretty well. Like they made sure that none of their scent was left. They actually did a water jutsu over there to make small downpour in order to actually wash away any trace of their scent. So they couldn't find Karin. So anyways, uh, the grandmother actually felt two foreign shinobi actually pounding against the seal around her house, and then She knew that the seal wouldn't hold for too long because there were hundreds of shinobi actually trying to break the seal, because they knew that this was the place where the clan leader stays, and they wanted to wipe everyone in, like wipe whoever's living inside out. So basically, the grandmother said that, Naruto, I have to do something for your protection. And Naruto was like, "What about you, grandma?" And the grandmother actually said, "Don't worry about me, Naruto." And Naruto was like, "No, I'm not going to lose you." And the grandmother was like, "I thought this would happen." So she basically tapped his shoulder, and a seal actually formed around Naruto's body, and the kanjis actually uh, wrapped around Naruto, and Naruto was still. So he was pretty much like bound. He couldn't move. So the grandmother actually, uh, like Naruto, when he saw his grandmother, he was like wide eyed because she actually sealed him, and she stopped his movement, and Naruto, he couldn't believe what his grandmother was doing, and he was like, he tried to make his mouth move, but then it wasn't working. And his grandmother was like, "I'm sorry, Naruto, this has to be done." And she started weaving hand seals. Like first it was slow, but then it became faster and faster until her hands were actually a blur. And she did thousands of hand seals, sorry, not thousands, hundreds of hand seals. And like as she was doing this, her hair actually rose up, and it was kind of like Kushina's hair when she gets angry, and then her skin actually turned really red. It was kind of like, when Rock Lee goes into his fifth grade, when Rock Lee goes into his fifth grade. So it was kind of like that. And also a vein started bulging all over her body. And when she opened her eyes, there's like a power emitting from them onto Naruto, and Naruto was really amazed, and he was actually like wondering what jutsu his grandmother was going to do. And she said, "Uzumaki clan forbidden sealing jutsu, death trance." And then uh, if you guys misheard me, it's death trance, like DEATH, not DEBT, because I don't know why I didn't pronounce it properly. But anyways, she said death trance, and then she knew that, after the clan was wiped out, only Jiraiya would know how to release Naruto from this jutsu, and she knew that Jiraiya was Naruto's godfather. So she actually trusted Jiraiya to find Naruto once the war was over and raise him. So uh, basically, when Naruto's about to get sealed, he saw Shinobi barge into the apartment, into the house, and actually behead his grandmother. And he was completely like grief stricken, if that's a word. Like uh, he was like full of grief for his grandmother's death. And like he would, since he was actually stuck in that time frame due to the sealing jutsu, like all he saw while he was sealed was his grandmother's head falling off of her body. And it's pretty dark, to be honest, but then um, these are my stories, so they get kind of dark in the start. So sorry if you don't like that, but anyways, uh, the Uzumaki clan pretty much gets wiped out except for Naruto, Karin, and Nagato, because Nagato is elsewhere and Karin is kidnapped. And of course, a few years later, when Naruto's would-be peers in the academy actually turn his age, like he's 4 right now. So when like Sasuke, Sakura, Hinata, all those people, when they turn 4, uh, he Jiraiya actually comes to find him in the Uzumaki, in the Whirlpool village, the ruins, and Jiraiya was actually looking for Naruto like frantically uh, among these years, like during these years, and he actually remembered something. Like he was struck by an epiphany. So he remembered that an Uzumaki, that Kushina's mother actually taught him this forbidden sealing jutsu used by the Uzumaki clan, and he was like, wait, did she? No way. And he knew that the grandmother wouldn't let Naruto die. So if Naruto was alive, this would be the only way. So and the reason why the grandmother actually taught Jiraiya was because the grandmother and Jiraiya had a thing for each other in the past. Uh, you know, Jiraiya was actually really close with you know uh, Kushina's mother, and they were actually they're kind of like girlfriend boyfriend level pretty much. So the reason why they split up was that Jiraiya actually had a lot of spy missions to do, and um, his pervert attitude kind of got to the grandmother after a while, because she knew that Jiraiya was a good person, and he was really trustworthy, and he was like a really honorable shinobi, and she really liked him except for his pervert habits. And she thought that like by dating Jiraiya she might get rid of some of his pervy habits, but she didn't. So and on top of that, Jiraiya was away a lot of the times on the spy missions. So she decided to actually break up with Jiraiya and marry her husband, who was Kushina's grandfather. So basically, sorry about that, Kushina's father. So anyways, Jiraiya uh, I remembered Naruto's grandmother really well, and he realized that it must be this jutsu. Like the only way Naruto could be alive was if the grandmother used this particular jutsu. So he visited Whirlpool again, and disappointment struck him again when he saw it in ruins. And by the way, Konoha's forces to help uh, you know. um the Whirlpool village arrived after the village got destroyed. And by the way, all the shinobi sent by the three villages to attack the Whirlpool village actually died, and uh, and a few more Uzumakis actually got out of the massacre of the Uzumaki clan, and uh, these people won't be really relevant, but then I'm just saying because there's pretty much no way that all of them would have died. Like Karin's parents managed to escape, and uh, you know Nagato's parents also Nagato also managed to escape. um, I don't know if Nagato's no. It was during the Third Great Ninja War, so yeah, it had nothing to do with Nagato. But then, if Karin's parents managed to escape, then you know it's pretty obvious that others might have escaped as well. But anyways, enough of that. Jiraiya actually visited um, Naruto's grandparents' old house, and then it was pretty much in shambles. But then he went around, and he actually held up a certain seal, like a hand seal, and then he was sensing for the chakra of that forbidden jutsu, and he actually found it in a certain location. And basically, when he found that location, he went to the spot where he could feel that chakra the strongest, and he started to weave hand signs. And this was basically uh, the these were basically the hand signs to release the death trance seal. So he basically waved hundreds of hand signs, the same way as the grandmother, like different ones, different hand signs, but then same speed. And his hair actually uh, grew longer due to the chakra he was outputting. And he actually kind of had to go into sage mode, because he wasn't able to complete the hand seals the first time. So he summoned Manpa Toad, and he actually went into sage mode to um, complete the hand seals and release Naruto. And he thought to himself, and he was like, "Damn, if she was able to seal Naruto, uh, like without using any chakra amplifiers like Sage Mode, imagine how much chakra she has. Uzumaki clan is no joke." And basically, when he finishes the hand seals, he says, "Uzumaki clan, forbidden sealing jutsu, death trance, release." And then Naruto's body actually comes, it kind of looks like a kamui, like when stuff comes out of a kamui. Like his body came spiraling out of nowhere. And his skin was like deathly pale. And when Jiraiya opened Naruto's eyes, he found that they were like kind of rolled back. And uh, Naruto's like really really thin. He was like emaciated kind of thin. You remember how Nagato was when Naruto met him in the original. So Naruto basically looked like that, and Jiraiya was like, "Oh damn, I really have to take care of this kid now." So he quickly brings Naruto back to Konoha, and he puts him in the hospital. And Jiraiya actually recovers something else that uh, his grandmother had sealed, that Naruto's grandmother had sealed with Naruto. And Naruto actually didn't notice her sealing this. And he brought it back as well. And um, Naruto woke up in the hospital a week later, from Jiraiya rescuing him. And he saw the nurse in his office, and she was like, "Ah, you're awake." And remember, guys, Danzo didn't tell anyone about the QB yet. He is going to tell them, but then Naruto's 4 at this time. So pretty much really soon after Naruto gets released from the hospital, and Danzo sees him around the village, he's going to tell, spill the beans about Naruto being the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. So the nurse is still nice to him since he's a little kid, and she doesn't know about the Nine Tails being inside him. So she was like, "Ah, you're finally awake." And Naruto was like, "Where am I?" And he started like rubbing his head. And the nurse said, "You're in the Leaf Village. Why?" And Naruto was like, "My clan. What happened to my clan?" And the nurse actually didn't know about Naruto's clan because she was just a regular civilian. So she didn't know about the clans and all that stuff. She only knew about a few of them inside Konoha. Other than that, she didn't really know any of the clans. And uh, she actually called in the third Hokage, who was and Jiraiya, who were both waiting for Naruto's recovery. And Jiraiya actually planned to leave the village again for his spy work after he saw Naruto wake up. And he would say hi to his godson and introduce himself, and then he would leave. So basically, she called Hiruzen and Jiraiya, and both of them came running into Naruto's room. And Jiraiya actually hugged Naruto, and he was like, "Thank God you're okay." Or in Japanese, "Thank Kami, you're okay," if you want. But anyways, that's pretty much off the point. So Naruto was like, "Who are you?" And Jiraiya was like, "Hey, now that's not the way to greet the person who saved you." And Naruto was like, "But my clan." My grandmother, is she all right? And he actually knew inside his head that she wouldn't be all right because he saw her head getting chopped off, and but he just hoped it was like some kind of illusion, basically trying to deny it. And Jiraiya was like, they all got wiped out, Naruto, I'm sorry. And uh, Naruto actually got really, really pissed off by this, and he got really sad, and he actually began to unleash a little bit of the Ninetales chakra. And the nurse wasn't in the room right now because she wanted to give them, privacy and all that. And then Jiraiya saw this, and he was like, Minato's seal is weakening. What's happening? I thought he was an Uzumaki. And Hiruzen was like, Minato is no joke at sealing Jiraiya. He probably intended for this to happen, for the Ninetales chakra to slowly leak into Naruto so that he could control it. And Jiraiya like slowly nodded his head. And by the way, Jiraiya actually like got off, like stopped hugging Naruto when he unleashed the QB chakra, and then he and Hiruzen actually had this discussion in secret, so they didn't have to um, let Naruto know about it. So of course, Jiraiya was like, Naruto, no need to worry now. We are your new family. We'll take care of you. And Naruto looked up at them and nodded and smiled, and he was like, "Sorry about that. I was just really sad about my clan and my grandparents." And Hiruzen was completely sympathetic towards Naruto, and he was like, "It's okay. Uh, I know what it's like to lose family as well." Because his wife actually died during the Nine Tails attack, if you don't remember. So he was like, "It's okay, don't worry. I know what it's like to lose family as well." And Jiraiya knows what it's like to lose someone precious as well. So we can completely understand how you feel. If you want, we can give you some space. And Naruto was like, "No, it's all right. I'm really grateful for you guys helping me out. Uh, Anyways, who are you?" And Jiraiya actually told Naruto that he's his godfather, and Hiruzen said that he was a Hokage, and Naruto was like, so you're Lord Hiruzen Sarutobi?" And Hokage was like, "You know my name, impressive. You're only four, so how did you learn that?" And Naruto told him that he was actually learning about all the world and all the other villages, as well as the Uzumaki clan. And Hiruzen was really impressed with this because most children, they're just like playing around when they're four. And basically, uh, Jiraiya is also really impressed, and Jiraiya actually asked Naruto whether he knows who he is. And Naruto was like, "Well, you didn't tell me your name, and the books I read had no pictures in them, so I'm not sure." And Jiraiya said that his name is Jiraiya, and Naruto was like, "Oh, so you're the legendary Toad Sage of Mount Miyoboku, and you're legendary, and you're one of the legendary Sanin." And Jiraiya also was really happy that Naruto knew him, and he told, and since Naruto knew that he was his Jiraiya was his godfather, Naruto was like, "So I'm really happy to have someone as powerful you as my godfather, but since you're my godfather, do you know who my parents are?" And Jiraiya uh, Jiraiya he said that that has to be a secret for now, and he'd tell Naruto when he becomes a Chunin. And this was actually promised by Hiruzen as well. He decided to let Naruto know when he becomes Chunin. And This is because he knew the level of a shinobi at the Whirlpool Village, and he knew that by the time Naruto becomes a genin, he'd be like as strong as a chunin, like if he was still in the Whirlpool Village. So, anyways, Hiruzen actually gave Naruto a scroll, and this wasn't the one that Minato gave. This is actually what his grandmother sealed along with Naruto, and he was like, Your grandmother entrusted this to you," and Naruto was like, "Oh." His eyes actually brightened a little bit because he had something of his grandmother's left, and he was like, "Oh, what is it?" And then Hiruzen was like, "I'm not exactly sure. Maybe you should open it and find out because it has a blood seal placed on it, and um, we can't open it without you smearing your blood on it." And Naruto um, was like, I wonder where grandmother got my blood from, because he actually read a little bit about the blood seal, and he knew that it had to have the person's blood, like whoever's authorized to open what is stored with that seal, or what is secured with that seal. So he was like, it's probably from that time. And he remembered a time where he fell into the lake while he was out fishing with Karin, and he actually fell into the river or the lake, and like while he was struggling to swim, Karin actually tried to grab him with her fish hook, but then the fish hook pierced into his shoulder, and Karin literally dragged him from there. She was like, "Sorry, Naruto, this is gonna hurt," but she did it anyways. And Naruto was severely bleeding, and he thought that that was when his grandmother must have taken it, and because she thought that it would be useful for something like this. And then like he was just this was all just his musings to himself. He wasn't saying this out loud. And but anyways, he thanked the third Hokage for you know um giving this to him, and he told him that he was really happy to be taken in by the Leaf Village. And the Hokage, Hiruzen, like he smiled, and so did Jiraiya. And Jiraiya was like, anyways, now that the brat's here, I can go on my spy missions again. Naruto slightly frowned when Jiraiya called him a brat, but then he didn't really care. So Hiruzen basically um, told Naruto that his apartment was ready, and he asked him whether Naruto he's not he asked Naruto whether he was ready to move there yet, and Naruto said he was ready, and uh, Hiruzen smiled at him and gave him the key and led him to his apartment. And Naruto, once Hiruzen was gone, Naruto instantly opened the scroll that his grandmother gave him, using his blood. He actually took a kitchen knife and drew out some of his blood and wiped it on the scroll. So the scroll opened up, and then he saw several several summoning kanjis written all over um, you know uh, the scroll. And he decided that it was time to unlock his chakra, because otherwise he would have no chance of recovering what his grandmother left for him. So basically, um, he goes to the library, and a few days from now, and he starts learning chakra control exercises like academy level and stuff like that. And the librarian's actually really friendly with him, because he always likes someone who's in the pursuit of knowledge. So of course, the librarian always is happy to point him out in the right direction. So Naruto actually gets a bond with the librarian. So, anyways, a few weeks later, Danzo actually makes the announcement that Naruto is the 90th Jinchuriki, and because he has seen Naruto walking around the village, and due to Naruto's red hair, he can actually tell who he is, and you know that he is a Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. And of course, since the villagers are dumb as fuck, they don't recognize Naruto as the son of the fourth Hokage, even with Naruto's like similar style of red hair and his blue eyes. Uh, that Wait, actually, I'm going to say that Naruto had violet eyes here because Kushina's eyes were violet, and he got more of the personality side from Minato. So he had the same spiky hair though. And he kind of looked like him as well because his skin color was the same, and there weren't like any redheads in Konoha. So that's the only explanation. So uh, of course, since the villagers are stupid, they couldn't make the connection. So, but Danzo could because the fact that Danzo's a bit of an asshole, he's still very smart. So, he knows who Naruto is, so he makes the announcement, and this is when the villagers start glaring at Naruto, and they start trying to um avoid Naruto, and Naruto is really saddened by this. And since he doesn't know about his about Kurama living inside him, he is absolutely shocked because one day the villagers were treating him all fine, but then another day they started um, ostracizing him pretty much. So Naruto was really saddened by this, and but then this kind of deepened his resolve to gain the respect from his villagers, because he thought that this is because he was from a different village, and he kind of had to like earn his acceptance in this village. He didn't know because he didn't know about the Nine-Tails. Like he knew about the Nine-Tails attack, and that the fourth Hokage killed it, but then he didn't know that it was actually sealed inside him. So uh, one day in the library, he actually came up looked at a scroll, or a book more like he looked at a book which was about the tail beasts, and due to the nine tails power, able to destroy Konoha, like deal heavy damage to Konoha, and actually defeat almost defeating the fourth Hokage. Like the fourth Hokage had to die to beat the nine tails. He knew the fourth Hokage was really strong, and he felt a certain sort of kinship with him because he knew that the fourth Hokage was an Uzumaki, and he kind of had suspicions about him being his father, but he thought it might just be a coincidence. But anyways, he started reading the book about the Bijus, the tail beasts, and then he saw that they're actually constructs of chakra, and he knew that just like matter or energy, chakra couldn't be created or destroyed because chakra in essence is a form of energy. So it can't be created or destroyed. So since the beasts themselves are made of chakra, he knew that it was impossible to actually kill a tail beast. So he knew that it must be hidden somewhere or sealed somewhere. And when his grandmother told, when he was reading about the stories about the Uzumaki clan, um, he saw that the only two Jinchuriki of the QB were from the Uzumaki clan. So basically, he knew that the Uzumaki clan had really strong chakra reserves, and they were the only ones who were capable of handling a tailed beast. And due to the strong alliance between the Uzumaki clan and Konoha, Leaf Village, the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails was an Uzumaki. So of course now it kind of made like he started like connecting the dots when he found out that the nine tails had to be sealed somewhere. So since he was the only Uzumaki in the village, he thought it might be him, or either him or or the nine tails are sealed in like somewhere else, like in a certain place. So basically, he uh, learned a bit more about Jinchurikis and tail beasts, and he saw that in order to connect to their tail beasts, the Jinchurikis often had to focus really hard on their mind and try to find the tail beasts, their respective tail beast inside their mindscape. And Naruto actually decided to try this. So he went up to the Hokage monument and he sat on the fourth Hokage's head. And he really looked up to the fourth Hokage since he was part of his clan, and he was a beast in sealing jutsu, pretty much like a monster. He couldn't be beat with sealing jutsu. Um, and Naruto aspired to be just like him. So anyways, Naruto meditated on top of the fourth Hokage stone face, and then um, he basically uh, opened his eyes to see that he was in some sort of sewer, and he was like, "Ugh, this place is disgusting. What's going on here?" Like that's what he thought, but then he didn't really let it show outwards. But then he just kept walking, and it seemed like a labyrinth, and he was like, how is my mind this big?" And he finally reached to a halt in front of like a huge cage, and then he saw and he could hear breathing coming from inside it, and he was like, uh, he called out and he was like, "Hey, someone in there?" And he was surprised to see a huge red eye opening, uh, he- uh, and the Ninetales was like, "You dare disturb my slumber, you brat!" And Naruto was like, "Oh, sorry about that. Don't worry, you'll have plenty of time to sleep in my or in here anyways." And the Ninetales actually got pretty angry at this, and he was like, "How dare you, brat? Yeah, first you wake me up and then you go making suggestions." And Naruto was like, "Hey, chill. Why are you so angry?" And Ninetales was like, "I'm the embodiment of hatred." And Naruto was like, "Yeah, that doesn't really matter very much to me, but anyways, uh, I'm happy to see you here." And then the Ninetales was like, he was kind of intrigued. Why would Naruto be happy to see the Ninetales? And he was like, "Why?" And then Naruto was like, "Because it gives me an explanation. Why the villagers suddenly started hating me, and also what happened to the Ninetales after the attack. And it also gives me an explanation as to who my parents were. It's pretty obvious since they were the only Uzumakis in Konoha, and my grandparents wouldn't tell me who my parents were, and they hid several um, and they had several hidden pictures which they wouldn't allow me to look at." And the Ninetales was like, plus from time to time, he was like, "Plus from time to time when guests came, they would mention your parents' names just to get hushed up." And Naruto was like, "Yeah, well, yeah, that's a point too." So yeah, I pretty much hit three birds with one stone. And Kurama was actually really impressed seeing how intelligent Naruto was to actually deduce so much so quickly, and he was like, "This brat is kind of entertaining. It's not half bad having him as my Jinchuriki." And he doesn't actually decide to become friends with Naruto yet. Like he still wants to get free, but then he is really intrigued by Naruto. So Naruto was like, "Anyways, I'll talk to you later then. Bye." And Kurama was like, he just grunted, and Naruto was like, "Wait, just a second." And Kurama was like, "What do you want now, brat?" And Naruto was like, Well, I just want to make this sewer of my mindscape seem like a better place. And Kurama was like, good luck with that. And Naruto uh, basically focused his imagination and uh, imagined what he wanted his mind to look like. And since the Uzumaki clan was a descendant of Ashura, the clan members were descendants of Ashura. Naruto really loved nature, so he imagined like a field with trees and hedges and a bunch of lakes and rivers and stuff, and you know like hills and stuff. And then when he opened his eyes, there's like a lush greenery everywhere, and there's a huge tree above Kurama, and it kind of provided him shade from the sun, and there was a sun in Naruto's mindscape as well as like a blue sky and grass everywhere and trees and stuff. And Kurama was like, What?" And then Naruto was like, "Well, he thanked me later then." And he poofed out of his mindscape and woke up, and he smiled, knowing that he did something good for his tenant, the Ninetales. And he didn't really dislike the Ninetales because um, uh, and he as of now he didn't dislike the Ninetales, but and like he isn't going to dislike it in the future as well because uh, like he wanted to get to know the Ninetales side of the story as well first because uh, it like when he talked to the Ninetales, it didn't really seem that bad. Like it just called itself the Beast of Hatred, but then like the embodiment of hatred, but it didn't really seem like too bad. And he wanted, like, before judging the Ninetales for killing his parents, he wanted to understand the Ninetales a little bit. So he decided to have an open mind about it, and and since he felt bad for the Ninetales pretty much being caged in his mind, he made the field, and now the Ninetales was kind of like on a leash that was tied to his leg, and the leash was connected to the large tree that stood over the Ninetales. So Ninetales could like move around a lot more, like you know basically in a circle around the tree, which is the radius of the leash. So he was really happy with this, and he was like, "This is almost better than freedom." And he was like, "Some free, some other uh, arrogant shinobi will come and try to control me." And but then he didn't want to like admit this to Naruto because that would pretty much make him like admit that he's not the beast of hatred and all that stuff. So uh, he kept his happiness to himself. So, anyways, Naruto uh, was going to confront the Hokage about this, and Naruto's personality is a little bit like uh, calculating over here. Like if someone lies to him and he knows, he's going to like make them tell him pretty much. And so he pretty much goes to the Hokage's office, and the clerk in front of the office, like the secretary, uh, she gave him an angry look, and Naruto was like, hey, he was like, hello to you too. Would you mind if I see the Hokage for a little bit? And the secretary was like, I'm sorry, but he's busy. And Naruto was like, I'm sorry, but that was just a formality. And he just walked right in. And secretary, like, she tried to stop him, but then the clutter on her desk got in the way. And, stuff fell, and she couldn't really, like, go after Naruto. So Naruto went straight into the Hokage's office, and he was just taking a smoke. Like, he was on his break from the paperwork. And Naruto's like, you really have to get a new secretary, Lord Hokage. And Hiruzen was like, Ah, Naruto, my boy, what are you doing? And what are you doing here? And Naruto um, uh, was like, nothing. I just have a few things to ask. And Hiruzen was like, ask away, my boy, ask away. But one thing, why did you tell me to get a new secretary? And Naruto was like, well, this one is kind of a jackass. And Hiruzen was like, he raised an eyebrow and he was like, well, what do you mean? And Naruto was like, she insisted on telling me that you're busy even though you're clearly not, like at least right now. And Hiruzen laughed and he was like, haha, I'll have a chat with my secretary a little bit later. But anyways, what did you want to ask me? And Naruto was like, well, Lord Hokage, I have a few questions about the incident that happened several years ago when I was born. And Hiruzen was like, ah, you mean the Nine Tails attack? And Naruto was like, exactly. Uh, so you told me that the fourth Hokage killed the Nine Tails. Is that right? And Hiruzen was like, well, yeah, but he exchanged his own life for it. And Naruto was like, let me tell you something interesting, Lord Hokage. And Hiruzen's sweat began to drop as he was like, oh no, has he found out? And Naruto was like, I read something interesting in a library book the other day. Um, the book said that the tail beasts were actually huge masses of accumulated chakra. And Hiruzen looked on, and Naruto was like, "Am I right?" And Hiruzen was like, "Well, yes." And Naruto was like, "Well, then according to the law of conservation of energy, uh, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So that means chakra can be neither created nor destroyed, since chakra is essentially energy, a combination of physical and spiritual energy. Am I right in my deduction?" And the Hokage was like, he basically was started to stutter. He's like, well, and like more beads of sweat began to drop down his face. And Naruto was like, I see. So I have one question for you, Lord Hokage. Where is the Nine Tails now? And Hiruzen uh, was like, I don't know. And Naruto was like, is that right? So I don't just happen to have this seal on my stomach for no reason, right? And Hiruzen was like, I can explain. And Naruto was like, explain what exactly? And Hiruzen actually kind of got pissed at Naruto trying to act innocent, and he was like, "Don't act as though you don't know. I'm pretty sure you found out that the Nine Tails is sealed inside you." And Naruto was like, he feigned a shocked expression, and he was like, "This is outrageous, Lord Hokage. How is this possible?" And Hiruzen got angry, and he was like, "Don't play dumb, Naruto." And Naruto just smiled, and he was like, "I'm glad I got you to admit it." And Naruto was like, "However, why did you lie to me, Lord Hokage?" And Hiruzen was like, "That information's supposed to be an S rank secret. How did you find out?" And Naruto was like, well, it's not that hard to connect the dots once you read about the tail beasts, and once you get evil glares from all the villagers. And also on top of that, I have the seal on my stomach, and I was there the time the Nine Tails attack happened. So it was highly plausible for me to have the tail beasts, to have the QB sealed inside me. And also, I met the QB, and Hiruzen was like, What?" And Naruto was like, Well, you seem surprised, Lord Hokage." And Hiruzen was like, A normal Jinchuriki shouldn't be able to do that until they're at least 12." And Naruto was like, Well, I guess I'm a special one then. And Hiruzen actually let out a small chuckle now, and he was like, Yeah, I guess you are. And Naruto, he was like, Well, I'm not done yet, Lord Hokage. I have a few more questions for you. And Hiruzen actually, his sweat began to drop again, and he was like, Oh no, I hate it when Uzumakis are like this. They scare me so much. And anyways, after he was done with his musings, Naruto was like, Why was I chosen to be sealed, to have the QB sealed into me instead of any other child? And Hiruzen was like, Well, that's because you're an Uzumaki, Naruto. I'm pretty sure you're aware of the Uzumaki clan's chakra reserves, are you not? And Naruto was like, Yes, but when I was born, who were the Uzumakis that were there in the village? How many Uzumakis were living in this village? And Hiruzen like, oh no, he found out about that too. And Hiruzen was like, well, and Naruto just looked at him expectantly, and Hiruzen was like, it was the fourth Hokage and his wife, and Naruto was like, so it was my godfather's student and his wife. Now I wonder why he was chosen as my godfather. Don't you wonder the same, Lord Hokage? And Hiruzen was like, Naruto, don't tell me you found out. And Naruto's like, about what? And Hiruzen was like, I'm getting tired of this, Naruto. I know you found out about your parentage. And Naruto was like, My parentage? And the Hokage was like, Stop the act, Naruto. I know you found out that your parents were the fourth Hokage and his wife. And Naruto just smiled, and he was like, uh, and I'm guessing that you hid that from me as well because it's an S rank secret. And Hiruzen was like, Yes. And then Naruto was like, Well, my appearance is really similar to the fourth Hokage and his wife, so I bet the villagers are really stupid for not recognizing the similarity. And Hiruzen actually chuckled, and he was like, Yeah, you're right about that, Naruto. And Naruto's like, Anyways, thanks for clarifying all of that. And Hiruzen was like, Damn, that kid is scary. I can't believe I actually got scared of him. And then he collapses back into his chair and continues smoking his pipe. So yeah, that's basically their interaction. So anyways, like after a couple of weeks, Naruto actually got the hang of a few chakra control exercises, and he could keep a leaf stuck on his forehead for like 5 minutes before he lost control and the leaf fell. And uh, Naruto actually decided to go give Kurama a visit because he is kind of tired of chakra control exercises. So he went into his mindscape and he saw Kurama snoring underneath the tree, and Naruto was like, "Hey QB." And Kurama opened an eye and he looked up at Naruto and he was like, "What do you want now, brat?" And Naruto, he was like, Well, I was just wondering whether you had any tips on how I can improve my chakra control. And Kurama's like, Well, so you asked me what makes you think I'd help you? And Naruto was like, well, it wasn't me thinking you'd help, it's more of me hoping you'd help. And Kurama was like, well, get lost. And Naruto was like, why? Were you offended by me or anything like that? And Kurama was like, why is this kid being so nice to me? He was thinking like that. He was like, why is this kid being so nice to me? Most of them just asked for my chakra. And he remembered Naruto's age and saw that he was only 4, like almost 5 at this point, but he was still like, in between. Um, so he was like, it's probably his innocence since he's a child. And but then he decided to ask Naruto anyways, and he was like, why do you never ask me for any chakra? And Naruto was like, well, do you want me to ask you for a chakra? And Kurama was like, no. And Naruto was like, uh, well, I didn't really, uh, I didn't really want your chakra. I didn't really need it yet. But then, uh, if you're offering, I'd be happy. I'd be happy to accept it. And then Kurama was like, what's with this kid? But then he actually decided to give Naruto a tip just to get him started. And he was like, uh, your chakra coils are really thin, like they're almost like strings. So I want you to expand them so that they can accommodate more chakra. And he obviously said it with the Kurama voice, but I'm too lazy to do that. And Naruto was like, and how do I do that? And Kurama was like, well, kid, you're smart, so figure it out. And Naruto shrugged and he left his mindscape. And he was like, so I have to output more chakra then. And he's like, what if I force the chakra through? And he already knew he had massive reserves of chakra since he's an Uzumaki. And plus, the Nine Tails chakra was kind of flowing into him subconsciously. So that kind of expanded his reserves. So, after some amount of meditation, he actually focused his chakra by holding his hands together, and he wanted to expel as much chakra as possible in order to force the coils to expand. So basically, uh, he did this once, and then it took nearly half an hour for all of his chakra to uh, and his chakra wasn't even close to being over, but he got tired of expelling it. But he could actually feel that his chakra coils had become a little bit um, you know bigger now. And he decided to practice this for a longer time, and then he would keep practicing this until his coils became really large. And uh, it wasn't like Jonin level, it was like Chunin level chakra coils. And then Naruto visited the QB again, and he was like, well, are you he's like, well, are you satisfied now? And wait, he didn't say that. He was like, well, I opened up my chakra coils now. And Kurama was like, well, good for you. Now continue doing your exercises. And Naruto was like, you're being a lot more helpful all of a sudden. You're softening up, aren't you, QB? And Kurama was like, shut up, you brat, I'm the embodiment of hatred. And Naruto just chuckled. And he was like, by the way, QB, I was wondering something. And Kurama was like, hmm? And Naruto was like, while I was reading up about the other villages, I saw the name of the sand village's tail beast. It's Shukaku. It's not Ichibi, like how you are called QB. And Kurama was like, and your point? And Naruto was like, well, I was just wondering. since Shukaku has a name, uh, why does Shukaku have to be so special? Don't the other tail beasts have names as well? And Kurama was like, well, they do have names, kid, except that no one in the other villages respects us enough to call us by our names. And Naruto was like, well then, we can start that tradition by you telling me your name. And Kurama was like, you have to earn the right for to use my name. And Naruto was like, so you just like being called QB? And Kurama was like, hmm. And then Naruto was like, alright then, I'll just call you QB until you tell me your real name. And Kurama just snorted, and he just like gave like a grunt, and Naruto left his mindscape, and now he was able to output a lot more chakra. And yeah, his chakra control also improved because he could output more at once. And before he would always output to less chakra to actually let the leaf stick. So now he was actually gaining some control. But then he knew that this was still not scratching his chakra reserves, and he needed to expand them even further. And he basically noticed the orange chakra leaking from uh, and emanating off of Kurama. And he was like a few days later, he was like, "Hey QB, mind if I borrow this?" And Kurama was like, "I didn't know when you'd ask." And Naruto was like, well, I'm sorry, but then I just needed this once. I won't use it again unless it's a dire situation. And Kurama was like, alright, well, just this once. And he gave Naruto a little bit of his chakra. And this was actually really condensed, and it was a huge amount of chakra. And it basically kind of forced his chakra coils open. And Naruto was really sore from that, but then his chakra coils expanded to like Kage level. And now finally, when he was doing his chakra control exercises, he was able to stick more leaves onto himself, and also notice that his chakra reserves were just draining a little bit. And then he was like, that's good. It seems like I'm getting better control and I'm able to output more. And he was like, maybe it's time for the next exercise now. So he did the tree walking exercise and the water walking, and he mastered them pretty easily because his chakra control is pretty good, because Kurama doesn't try to mess with him since he wants to see like Naruto's potential and stuff. So uh, sometimes he messes with him just like when he's feeling bored. But then Naruto's huge chakra reserves can actually handle that. And Kurama was like, anyways, with this seal, it's not like I can do much. I might as well just watch. And then, of course, Naruto, he's still friends with the librarian, because the librarian grew to care for Naruto since Naruto is like in such hot pursuit of knowledge. And he actually lended Naruto some taijutsu scrolls, and Naruto was learning taijutsu. And then he remembered that now, since he had unlocked his chakra, he could summon the possessions that his grandmother gave him out of the scroll that was given to him. And he did this, and then he found the seven books on sealing jutsu that his grandmother gave him to study. And he also found a lot of scrolls and about different Uzumaki jutsus, and a lot of books containing the jutsus as well. And also he he found out some taijutsu forms that the Uzumakis were known for, as well as you know kenjutsu forms, because the Uzumaki were known for kenjutsu as well. And not as popular as, not as well as Fuinjutsu, but then of course they had an impressive skill in kenjutsu as well. So uh, of course, Naruto always thought it'd be cool to learn how to use a sword, but then he thought that he'd try to use it when he's a bit older, because right now he was really short and his physical abilities wouldn't allow him to wield the sword very well, except if it was like a small blade like a dagger or something. But then um, he thought that swords were like a lot cooler, and also they had better range, and a dagger is just like a long kunai pretty much. So he decided to just wait it out and grow a little bit before he starts swords. So anyways, he continued his learning in fuinjutsu, and he still practices handwriting every day, and but he moved on to the second book, which was just elementary level sealing jutsus, which were like storage seal, like when you seal certain items into a scroll, and a chakra suppressing seal, which is like the kind of one that Jiraiya used on Naruto when he lost control, and also a temporary paralysis seal, and Naruto spent a lot of time learning these three types of sealing jutsu, and since he was an Uzumaki, sealing came pretty naturally to him, and his handwriting also like greatly improved, and he was like approaching seal master level handwriting, and also um, he was able to really grasp the concepts of fuinjutsu a lot easier, because he's an Uzumaki. So of course he easily learns these three types of sealing jutsus, and he moves on to the fourth book, which is advanced sealing, different styles of sealing, and basically that book this is the third book, I'm sorry about that. In the third book, it's about the different styles of sealing, and it explains about the different styles, like the four pentagram style, the five tetragram style, the six tetragram style, and the eight trigram style, and basically he knew like after a bit of studying that the seal that his father used on him was an 8 trigram style double tetragram sealing jutsu. So he was really intrigued by all of these, and he learned like how to apply chakra for each of these types of sealing, and like how the chakra flows through the kanji in order to seal, and all that, and Naruto has also read a lot into the politics of Konoha, and basically like how the council is run. Like uh, 60% of the votes on a new law in the council go to the civilian council, while 40% go to the shinobi council, and the Hokage is worth 10 votes. So basically the civilian council has the most power, and Naruto knows that the civilian council would try its best to pass laws that are against him, and uh, the shinobi council, and also in the shinobi council, the um, he didn't have he wouldn't have like much support as well. Like a few people might know of his true heritage and stuff like that, and they might actually care for him, but then or like not see him the way that everyone else see him. But then of course uh, he knew that in the council decisions wouldn't go in his favor. So he always tried to stay out of trouble, so that it doesn't have to that so no one has to resort to making laws related to him. And he still loves ramen a lot, and he likes Ichiraku ramen, and they are still really like friendly to him. But then he always does try to get more vegetable and more proteins and stuff. because his grandmother had reinforced like a healthy diet into him, because a healthy diet means like a shinobi that's capable. So since it was Naruto's dream to become a shinobi, he always he would make sure to get all of his nutrients and stuff, and he wouldn't care if the shops are overcharging him. He just wanted to get his meal, and uh, luckily the Hokage was taking care of his rent, so uh, you know Naruto didn't have to suffer being overcharged on rent as well. But then Naruto found that the money the Hokage was giving him was barely enough for all his necessities, anyways, with the overcharging and all that stuff. So, anyways, Naruto does know how to cook for himself because he did learn from his grandmother. Since shinobi have to be independent, and he knows that if he wants to become a shinobi, he has to actually learn these life skills, and he knows how to live off the land and stuff. So from time to time, he'd go fishing and uh, picking fruits and mushrooms in the forest as well. So just like how he did in the original, but then he wouldn't go after the poisonous mushrooms. So, anyways, Naruto, learned a lot of new sealing jutsus in the sealing styles, and also um, he went to the next book, which is the fifth book. In the fourth book, it was about the jutsus in each sealing style, and then he went to the fifth book, which is advanced sealing jutsus, and basically these jutsus didn't fit into the sealing styles, but then they were sealing jutsus nonetheless, and they were really powerful, and basically they were invented by people who were seal masters. So this included the five element seal, the the flying Raijin, of course, and a few other jutsus that Naruto wanted to learn. But then, a few of them, for example, the flying Raijin, they didn't have instructions on how to learn them, because the flying Raijin was, kind of a Konoha jutsu, like developed by the like by the second Hokage and improved by the fourth Hokage. So Naruto didn't have any chance of learning about that from that book. However, he still learned the five element seal and five element seal release, and a few other really advanced jutsus. And this was by the time he was six, like six and a half. And then afterwards, after this, he decided that he would um, go on for the sixth book. Sixth book was about you know um, sealing jutsus without having to use ink. Like, so basically you make the ink from your own chakra, and he read this and he saw that the it requires like extreme chakra control in order to actually achieve this, and you literally have to like control from which chakra points he wants to flow chakra through to create the ink, and basically that's how the seals would be created for the kanji. So of course this is really really difficult for Naruto because he has huge reserves of chakra, but then since he's an Uzumaki, control in this aspect comes really easily to him, and he's also like normally good at chakra control. However, this takes a lot of effort because it just like how fine tuned the chakra control is. It just like takes up a lot of effort. So, anyways, um, of course, Naruto uh, managed to learn this within a few months, and he actually goes pretty crazy after he finishes learning it, because he's so happy that he reached this milestone in sealing jutsu that he pretty much practices it on every surface of his house, and the Hokage actually knocks on his door to give him the monthly allowance, and he sees the entire walls, furniture, kitchen, everywhere. There are kanjis, and the Hokage was like, Naruto, what have you been doing? I told you to keep this place clean. And Naruto was like, I'm sorry, Lord Hokage, I got a bit excited. And Hokage was like, why did you paint all of these kanjis here? And Naruto was like, oh, I did it with my chakra. And Hiruzen was like, you've already reached that level? You're six, Naruto, for God's sake. And Naruto was like, yeah, so what's your point? And Hokage was like, yeah, that's. Even I don't know that level of sealing jutsu. And Naruto was like, so you must have expertise in other areas then, don't you? And Hiruzen was like, of course I do, but I'm a Kage. You're not even an academy student. How do you know all of this? And Naruto was like, it's probably in my blood. And Hiruzen was like, I guess so. And uh, of course, he's still really surprised, but then he doesn't really want to press Naruto about this because, he has better things to do. So, anyways, uh, now Naruto has turned 7 and he has finally joined the academy. So, of course, uh, like none of his peers really knew him because he didn't like try to attract attention to himself, uh, and he actually was really good at stealth, because he knew that the fundamental thing about a ninja was that they should be stealthy. So he would always try to attract as less attention to himself as possible. So a lot of the like all of the kids pretty much didn't have any interaction with Naruto. So they kind of like kept an open mind when they talked to him. So when Naruto walks into the academy, um, Iruka greets him. And by the way, I know that it was there was another teacher before Iruka, but then I'm just gonna say it starts off with Iruka for this one, because it's not really a significant detail. But anyways, Iruka is nice enough to like be a professional and put his emotions aside for the class, and hate on Naruto later. And he was like, hello class, this is your new classmate. Would you like to introduce yourself? And since the class didn't know him, everyone was intrigued, especially Sasuke, because um, Sasuke was um, actually found the rest of his class incompetent. However, he would interact with them because he didn't go into that emo state yet, but he was still in Uchiha, so he would try to associate with people of his own skill level. So he was wondering whether this kid could be a match for him. So uh, and Naruto made up his mind before joining the academy that he would always be the loser of the class, and that because he knew how the teams were organized, and he knew that Sasuke was an Uchiha, uh, so basically the Uchihas were basically royalty in the Hidden Leaf, and the council would do anything to pass him, so he had to be on Sasuke's team in order to pass academy. So basically, um, he wanted to play dead last so that Sasuke would be first in the academy, because he knew that Sasuke was a prodigy, and because he saw how the other students talk about Sasuke, like while walking to his class and stuff. So he knew that Sasuke must be pretty smart, and also a pretty good shinobi, or not a shinobi yet, but then pretty strong. So he knew that he would probably be first, so he decided to be dead last. So Naruto actually gives a brash greeting, and he's like, "Hello, I'm Naruto Uzumaki, and I'll be the next Hokage." And the class, they all deadpan because they don't like this kid's attitude. He's just he's just too hyperactive, and except Shikamaru and Choji, because they don't really care. And Sasuke is like, I thought he might actually be a match for me. and of course he severely underestimates Naruto because of this. And Iruko's like, well then Naruto, would you like to go to your seat? And of course Naruto goes to an empty seat, and he actually sits beside Sakura, and this is because Ino is actually absent on this day, and Sakura and Ino were still friends because they didn't have the Sasuke thing going on. So Naruto sat beside Sakura, and he decided that he'd just pretend to have a crush on Sakura because um, that would make everyone underestimate him even more and think he's just uh, wasting his time trying to attract a girl. So he decided to just pretend, and he was like he asked what her name was, and she was like, my name is Sakura Haruno, and Naruto was like, Haruno. He was thinking this, and he was like, Haruno. I think her name was I think she's one of the members of the civilian council, and then but then he didn't let this get in his way, and he was like, uh, so Sakura, you know, he was like, so Sakura, do you want to hang out later? And Sakura was like, I'm sorry, Naruto, no. I actually have plans later. And she was just saying this because she really didn't want to hang out with Naruto, but she was nice about it because she wasn't a fangirl bitch like after Sasuke yet, because she's still only 7. So of course all that stuff didn't exist yet in her head. So anyways, uh first, Iruka actually tries to judge their intelligence by um, an intelligence test, like basically just a class test, and then Naruto purposefully scores a 0, even though he knows all the answers. He makes sure he scores a 0, and then Iruka was kind of upset about this because he thought that Naruto might be pretty promising, but then he thought that he might have been wrong. But then, anyways, Sasuke and Sakura, of course, they get the highest scores, and Iruka applauds them, and then Iruka says that they're going to have a taijutsu sparring session with each other just to see like where their levels are at, and Naruto's paired with Sasuke, and he lets Sasuke whoop his ass, even though his skill in taijutsu is better and he can use fuinjutsu. He just doesn't want to make it seem like and make it known that he's the strongest. So Sasuke whoops his ass, and Naruto makes it seem like he's kind of trying, but then uh, you know Sasuke beats him up pretty much, and then Iruka calls a match in Sasuke's favor, and basically Naruto keeps up this ploy until the end of the academy. And by the way, in the middle of the academy, like while he was still continuing his Fuinjutsu training, he decided to explore the village for a bit, and he went to the border of the village, and he saw a shrine. So basically, this shrine, it had um, he saw a faint symbol of the Uzumaki crest on it, and he was like, "Well, I guess that's something related to my clan. I better go check it out." And then of course, he went inside this shrine, and he saw several scrolls and stuff with the Uzumaki clan, like scrolls and books of the Uzumaki clan littered around, and he was like, such disrespect for knowledge that has been collected for generations. And sorry if I'm using a bit of a Kurama voice for that. I kind of got something stuck in my throat that time. But anyways, that's what he thinks, and then he seals everything into a ceiling, like a storage scroll, and then and he sees a red-haired girl, uh, actually walk in later, and he was like, are you who I think you are?" And then this girl is actually Karin, and she actually has bite marks all over her, and she looks like really tired and exhausted, like hungry and exhausted. And Naruto was like, uh, "Karin, is that you?" And Karin was like, "Naruto?" And she ran and gave him a hug before collapsing. And since Naruto is like way stronger right now, he could actually carry her, and he actually took her to his house and nursed her back to health. And she got up and she she was like, "Where are we?" And Naruto was like, "We're in my house, Karin. Don't worry. I'll take care of you." And Karin actually, uh, and she was like 12 right now, while Naruto was 8. um, and this is because she didn't get sealed by the by his grandmother's sealing jutsu, by Naruto's grandmother's sealing jutsu. So she aged normally, and she was 4 years older than Naruto, like you know biologically. So uh, right now she didn't really have like feelings for Naruto yet, because uh, Naruto is only 8, so she didn't really see him that way. But then, like when Naruto's around 10, she'll actually start seeing him that way. But anyways, Karin actually thanks Naruto for this, and Naruto was like, "I'll ask the Hokage to let you stay here," and of course, he says this after hearing Karin's entire story about how the grass ninjas abused her, and they used to use her for healing, and she used to always be drained at the end, and even her mother died because her mother's already dead. What am I saying? Anyways, they used to just use her for the healing, and she would always be end up exhausted, and she would think she was actually going to die, but then she didn't. So anyways, uh, she actually escaped, and she came to this temple because she thought that she might find someone she knew, because it had the Uzumaki crest on it, and surprise surprise, she found Naruto. So of course Naruto was really saddened by this, and he said that he would speak to the Hokage and ask him to allow her to live there. And of course, Karina actually graduated from the academy at the Grass Village already. So she was already a genin. So when Naruto actually went to the Hokage, Karin was immediately given the rank of genin, and of course Naruto was kind of jealous, but then he knew that Karin had more time than him, and he planned to catch up to her soon, and like catch up to her rank wise. He was already a lot stronger than her because he had been studying sealing jutsus and stuff, while she was just like a basic fresh out genin, like pretty much how Sakura was in part one Naruto, like pretty useless. But anyways, the Hokage and Hiruzen, like he evaluates Karin, and he says that she's Genin level, and he would put her on a Genin team. Um, and then let's just say that Tenten quit being a ninja because she's pretty useless, and she just wants to manage her weapon shop now. And instead Karin is put on Team Guy. So Hiruzen lets Karin be on Team Guy, and I'm just going to age bend Team Guy a little bit up. Uh, like let's just say all of them are 11, and they passed out of the academy early, and Lee obviously had guys help to pass out, and Naruto was 8, and they were like 3 years older than him basically, and Karin was 4 years older than him, like biologically. So, anyways, he assigns her to this team, and he was like, "So, Karin, would you like me to set up any living accommodations for you?" And Karin and Naruto actually interjected, and he was like, "Well, I'll be fine if she stays with me." And Karin gave she looked at him and she was like, "Are you sure?" And Naruto was like, "Of course I'm sure. It'll be just like how when we were kids." And then Hiruzen was like, "You two know each other?" And Naruto obviously tells him the entire story about the Uzumaki clan massacre, and Hiruzen was really sad, and he actually shed a tear, and he was like, "I'm so sorry, I didn't know that happened to you. I knew the Uzumaki clan got massacred, but then I thought that Jiraiya just found you, in some random village." And then Naruto's like, "Jiraiya didn't tell you the circumstances of my of in which he found me." And Hiruzen was like, "No, he didn't. I didn't ask him. I was just overjoyed to see you." And Naruto was happy that Hiruzen cared about him so much. But anyways, like this explained, like, the age gap between Naruto and Karin, and of course, Hiruzen allowed Karin to stay with Naruto because they knew each other since they were kids, so they would be pretty comfortable with each other. So, of course, he was like, they're just kids, I'll allow it. So, anyways, uh, this is how Karin and Naruto end up living together. And Naruto teaches Karin everything he knows about Fuinjutsu, and he even makes room to learn more on his own, while Karin is practicing. And by the age of 9, he actually masters the seventh book, which was completely about like the seventh book, which was completely about reducing the time in which you apply a seal, the ink for your seal, like the kanji, uh, like on a surface. And it was also about reducing the number of hand signs till you're only able to do it within a single digit number of hand signs. So Naruto is really fascinated about the with this because most of the sealing jutsus, like especially the complicated ones, the hand signs were like close to 100, and it was really a pain memorizing all of them. And this the seventh book actually gave him a tip, which was to use hand seals, for which he had to mold chakra similarly to the previous or the next hand seal, and basically mentally think of that hand seal, and and basically eliminate that hand seal from the entire equation, or the entire set of hand seals. And that was a really helpful tip, and he basically was able to do this with more and more uh, you know uh, hand seals, until he was finally able to get to like 100 hand seals to about like a 4 or 5. And this was like a huge game changer for Naruto because it would really help him do sealing much faster. And it would basically uh, like make him qualified for using sealing jutsu in fighting. So basically, Naruto um, was now ready to actually learn uh, more advanced techniques, and also uh, his father's signature technique, and a few other really advanced sealing techniques as well. So basically, Hiruzen actually saw Naruto's progress in sealing jutsu, and he decided to give Minato's and Kushina's uh, uh, you know uh, books about sealing jutsu, and Minato's personal notes on the flying Raijin. And Kushina was also really good at sealing, and she and Minato both wrote like several books about sealing, and Hiruzen gave all that to Naruto. And guys, I won't really be delving deeper into like what was in those books and stuff, because they're all just like sealing jutsu, like really advanced sealing. And but then I'm going to talk about the flying Raijin training. So, anyways, Naruto actually masters all of the sealing jutsus that are like most of the common sealing jutsus that are written down in his parents' books by the age of 11. And then then he decides to start learning the flying Raijin. And basically and by the way, his act in the academy is still going on, and he actually tells Karin about why it's like this, and Karin actually understands. And she doesn't get too pissed about it, and she goes on her missions, and she gets like really strong with Team Guy, and also with Naruto teaching her Fuinjutsu. It's like she's basically like really strong now. And basically Naruto sees that he has to have a really great understanding of sealing jutsu, and also he has to learn uh, basically like come up with his own formula for the flying Raijin. And he does this all within the span of a year. So but then the thing is that he only got Tobirama's version of the Flying Raijin so far, because his father actually wrote down a note to tell him to start from that, because it would be easier, and then he'd be able to advance using his father's jutsu, and his father's advancements, and also he might make some advancements himself. And Naruto was really excited about this. But anyways, he got the second Hokage's version, and it was still really chakra draining. So Naruto really had to practice it and control his chakra like really hard, and like really well. And he also had to make sure that the chakra usage in each jump with the flying Raijin was as low as possible, and this was only done when your own speed is like really fast. So Naruto also trained in his physical attributes, and he even like used to train with Team Guy from time to time in taijutsu, because uh, like Guy, Lee, and Neji all knew that Karin was really close with Naruto, and they wanted to meet him. So they would also train Naruto from time to time, and this would really improve his taijutsu a lot. So of course, he got the in a few more weeks, he actually got the hang of Tobirama's version of the Flying Raijin, and he could like spam it, but not for too long. Like once he used it about 100 times, it would like really drain his chakra. So yeah, and then this is when he actually started to develop an interest in ninjutsu, because he knew that only fuinjutsu wouldn't cut it, because he had to be well versed in the other shinobi arts as well. So he decided to learn ninjutsu. So he would still continue his practice with fuinjutsu, but then he knew that it would be a lot better if he could integrate ninjutsu into his fighting style as well. So he took a chakra paper, um, like he bought one from Tenten's shop, and he passed chakra through it. And uh, by the way, he read about how the chakra paper works, so he knows what it would look like um, for each element. So of course, the first like when he runs his chakra through the chakra paper, it splits into two parts, and one of the parts soaks up into water, and the other part burns. So Naruto has one primary chakra nature, which is wind release, and two secondary chakra natures, which are water and fire. So basically, he actually got really excited that he has water release, because he knows that he can basically soak the battlefield, and he can also integrate his sealing kanjis into the water, and he can basically soak the entire battlefield in kanjis, and he can activate a sealing through water release, and even through fire release, and through wind release it would be really difficult, because wind is kind of like air, and he couldn't really like breathe seals onto someone. But then it would attach to like the ash and fire, and the water, um, in a water release jutsu. But so he mainly focused on water and fire, and it is also harder to find wind release ninjutsu in Konoha because wind release was really rare. But he did learn two wind release jutsus, which were the Gale Palm and the Breakthrough. So he learned Wind Style Gale Palm and Wind Style Breakthrough. And then in water release, he learned like several techniques, which were water style, water shock wave, water style tidal wave, water style slicing currents, water style water bullet, water style water dragon, and a few more. And in fire release, he learned the fire style fireball jutsu, um, the fire style phoenix flower jutsu, and the fire style stream of fire jutsu. And the last one was something I made up, by the way. It's kind of like basically a straight line of fire, like it's kind of on point. And he also learned the fire style fire bullet. So yeah, he learned those four jutsus in fire release. And he could and then now he actually focused on integrating his sealing jutsu into his fire and water release. And basically and this was a time when the graduation exam was happening, and Naruto, he decided that he was going to pass and not risk it, like, but then he would just barely pass. And he could do a clone jutsu and a transformation jutsu perfectly. It was just that the number of clones he makes are really high, like 10 or 20, and the number of and transformation was fine. So anyways, Naruto, um, writes the written part of the exam, and he makes sure that he would get the exact passing score. And uh, and then when he goes to do the practical part of the exam, uh, he's asked to transform, and he transforms into the Hokage. But then they notice that the beard is slightly too big. And but then they forgive, they're able to forgive it, like it's passable. And then next they do the substitution, and they basically ask Naruto to substitute with a pile of leaves. And then Naruto substitutes, but then only with a few of them, when he should have done it with all of them. And this is obviously on purpose, but then it's a passable substitution. And then Naruto is tested with the clone jutsu, and Naruto purposefully adds too much chakra, and he makes three clones around him, and all of them are like kind of pale, and they have a few hairs sticking out, and um, they're slightly different looking from Naruto, but they can still function as clones. Like they can walk around and stuff. They don't look stupid. So and this is a passable thing. So of course Iruka and Mizuki are forced to pass Naruto, and they give Naruto his Genin headband. So um, of course Naruto, like all the students are know about Naruto now, like him being the Jinchuriki, because like when they were hanging out with him, their parents came and they told him to stop talking to him and all that stuff. So, and only Shikamaru and Choji, their parents weren't like that, so they actually like Naruto. And Ino's dad wasn't like that either, but then Ino was kind of like a popular girl kind of thing. So she didn't really try to be friends with Naruto, but she didn't really mind Naruto either. And Sasuke, he just thought lowly of Naruto. He just didn't like hanging out with him because he thought that Naruto was weak. So he didn't really care about him being the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki and all that stuff. But then he just didn't like Naruto because he thought he wasn't strong. So of course, Naruto had only two friends, which were Shikamaru and Choji, and Hinata was also his friend because, and he doesn't save Hinata like how he does in the original, but then he is really friendly towards her, and she is she is friendly towards him as well. And even though her guard doesn't allow the friendship, she doesn't really care about that because she sees that Naruto is a pretty nice guy, and she wants to be friends with him. And this is not like a romantic thing. Hinata just likes him like a friend, and she's just part of their friend group. So, anyways, uh, Mizuki's Naruto is still sitting alone because Shikamaru and Choji's parents picked them up, and Hinata's guard took her back to the Hyuga compound, and Naruto is all alone. So then Mizuki actually came up to him and tried to make him steal the scroll of sealing. So Mizuki Mizuki was like, "Hey Naruto," and Naruto was like, "Hey Mizuki Sensei, what's up? How you doing?" And Mizuki was like, "Huh? Why is this kid asking me that? I've never shown any kind of interest to him." And but then he just shrugs it off and he's like, "I'm doing fine, Naruto. How about you?" And Naruto's like, "Yeah, I'm good." And Mizuki is like, "Are you content with being the dead last in the class?" And Naruto's like, "Look, Mizuki Sensei, if you want to make fun of me, go do it somewhere else. I don't really feel like I'm in the mood for that right now." And Mizuki was like, "No, no, you misunderstand, Naruto. I have a solution. I know something that I know a test for you that would make you the best in the class, the Rookie of the Year. Don't you want that?" Naruto didn't really care, but then he was intrigued with what Mizuki had to offer, and he was like, "Hmm, what is it?" And Mizuki was like, "See, you have to steal the scroll of sealing from the Hokage, and then and you have to give it to me, and I'll teach you a jutsu. And if you use that jutsu, you'll be able to you'll be able to get the highest score in the academy and become the Rookie of the Year." And Naruto almost felt like laughing at how stupid Mizuki's lie was, because the scroll of sealing was had so much security around it for a reason. Uh, it's not there for the purpose of some stunt to graduate the academy. And then, but Naruto played along because he knew that there were some powerful jutsus he could learn from the scroll of sealing, and um, if he was caught, he would just blame it on Mizuki because Mizuki just gave him the perfect excuse. So Naruto, pretending to be gullible, he agrees, and Mizuki is like, "Hey, hey, hey, I tricked that little brat really good now, didn't I?" And then he's not even aware of what was gonna happen to him now. But anyways, Naruto finds the scroll of sealing, and using his stealth and his abilities, he's able to mask his presence and get the scroll of sealing. And he takes it into the forest, and he's like, "All right, now for the good part." And he takes a scroll of his own, and he actually quickly copies on every single jutsu on the scroll of sealing except the wood style one, since he doesn't have wood style, and he copies all of them down. And then this is because he has like really fast writing and really good writing from his sealing jutsu training, and he writes everything down, and he puts the scroll away. And then he learns the shadow clone jutsu. So of course, Mizuki comes up to him, and he's like, "Here, Naruto, now give me the scroll." And Naruto rolled it up, and he was able to sense Iruka's presence because he's an Uzumaki, so he has sensory abilities. So he was about to give it to Mizuki, like he was pretending to give it, and Iruka was like, "Don't do it, Naruto." And Naruto was like, wasn't planning on it anyway. And Mizuki was like, "Wait, what?" And he doesn't notice that Naruto actually placed an explosion seal on him. And he was like, "What? This isn't even a tag." And his arm actually exploded, and it was basically like bleeding, and a bit of the bone of his arm was actually showing. But then Mizuki, being the idiot he still continued fighting, and he was like, "Hey, Naruto, do you know why everyone in the village hates you?" And Iruka was like, "No, Mizuki, don't tell him. It's a secret." And Mizuki was like, "Well, it's not much of a secret when everyone already knows, isn't it? Is it?" And Naruto was like, "Well, he got you there, Iruka Sensei." And Mizuki is like, Wait, aren't you going to ask me what the secret is?" And Naruto was like, "I already know. You're going to tell me I have the nine tails, aren't you?" And Mizuki was like, yeah, but how do you know?" And Naruto was like, "Well, that doesn't matter. Now, before I kill you, I will show you. I will tell you a bit of information, and this is going to shock you." And Mizuki is like, "Nothing you say can shock me, you brat." And Naruto actually sweat dropped, and he was like, "Oh damn, I made this guy I made this guy shocked just a second ago when I told him I already knew about the nine tails." Like he was thinking like that, like that's what Naruto's thinking, and he was like, he basically like pretty much body flickered behind Mizuki and held a kunai to his throat, and he was like, "Well, I'm the son of the fourth Hokage." And Mizuki's eyes widened as he realized and he recognized Naruto's appearance, and he was like, "What?" And but Naruto didn't leave him any time to dwell upon it as he slit Mizuki's throat and killed him on the spot. And Iruka was also really surprised at this revelation, and he was like, "Naruto, how long have you known?" And Naruto was like, pretty long, but anyways, that doesn't matter now. Let's get the scroll back to the Hokage. And Iruka was like, "So you're telling me you knew that was a trap the whole time?" And Naruto was like, "Of course it was a trap. It's the scroll of ceilings isn't a joke. It contains the most powerful jutsus and secrets of the village. It's not just there for some stunt for an academy graduate to pull off." And then Iruka was really surprised by Naruto's maturity, and he was like, wait a minute, was Naruto pretending all this time?" And he was like, he just decided to test it out, and he was like, "Well, Naruto, you seem to be extremely smart. How come you didn't show this in the academy?" And Naruto was like, "It doesn't matter." And then he just sped ahead, leaving Iruka pretty much in the dust. And he gave the Hokage the scroll of sealing back, and of course he, you know, thanked Naruto. Like Hiruzen thanked Naruto for, uh, you know, giving him the scroll back, and Naruto went back home, and uh, he basically couldn't hold in his excitement about learning so many new jutsus. But then, anyways, the next day was the time for the senseis to be revealed to the teams, and then of course Naruto, like all the team senses are revealed, and like team 1 through 6, I don't really care because they're a bunch of bullshit. They don't even pass. But anyways, team 7 sensei is still Kakashi, and the team is still Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke. And uh, basically, when Naruto walks in, they see that he has a different air around him, and he didn't like change his clothes or anything. Like he basically wears like black clothing all over, like black short sleeves shirt, and a black shinobi pants, and black shinobi sandals, pretty much. And he doesn't wear orange because that's too loud of a color for his liking. So of course he wears black, and but they notice that he has a different air around him. He seems a lot calmer, less hyperactive, all that stuff. He just takes a seat, and the teams are announced, and Now Team Seven, for Team Seven, Iruka announces that their sensei is going to be uh, Kakashi Hatake, and then of course, he announces other teams. Team 8 is the same, and Team 10 is also the same. And of course, they get with their Jonin senseis and they leave. And then Sakura starts to get impatient, waiting for Kakashi, and she's like, that our Jonin sensei should have the decency to come on time at least. And Naruto just looked at her in exasperation, and because like after their first interaction, Sakura became a real bitch to him. Uh, Ever since he found out about the Ninetales thing, so he didn't like her at all. But then he just pretended it throughout the academy just for the sake of it, just for himself to be underestimated. So, but then in the end, he finally got his goal, and there's no changing that. So he could finally return to his, you know, normal manner or whatever it is, like normal behavior. So he just rolled his eyes at Sakura, and Sakura didn't notice. But then Naruto was just reading a book on sealing jutsu. That is Dad wrote actually, and Sasuke is also getting impatient as they wait for like a whole hour, and then Sasuke actually begins tapping his leg, even though he still keeps a cool impression on his face and expression on his face. And Naruto's like, that's Sasuke. He he's trying so hard to have some patience. And anyways, Naruto just continues reading his book, a book like completely calm, and Sakura's like, Naruto, why are you so calm? Aren't you angry that your sensei is late? And Naruto was like, doesn't bother me that much. And then Sakura was like, why are you pretending to be cooler than my Sasuke-kun? And Naruto was like, really, you think I'm cooler than Sasuke-kun? And Sakura was like, no. And Naruto was like, anyways, thanks for the compliment. And he just continued reading his book. And then Kakashi actually walked in, and he actually gets stuck on the um uh like on the floor, like he's standing, but then he can't take another step. And he looks down and sees a huge ceiling formula on the ground, like that circular thing. And he was like, which one of you did this? And Naruto just continues reading his book, and Kakashi sees that it's about fuinjutsu. And he's like, Naruto, quickly come and release me from the seal. And Naruto was like, well, it's your punishment for being late. I set it up like an hour ago. And Kakashi was like, and I don't care, release me now. And Naruto was like, as you wish. So then he went up to Kakashi, and then Kakashi was like waiting in anticipation. And Naruto was like, first, I guess I must teach you a little lesson so that you don't come late from next time. And Kakashi was like, what lesson? And Sasuke and Sakura were both looking at this, waiting to see what would happen. And but Sakura was like, Naruto Baka, quickly release Kakashi Sensei. And Naruto was like, I will, be patient, Sakura. I just have a plan for Kakashi Sensei. And Kakashi actually looked with fear in his eyes at Naruto, and Naruto actually pulled out a razor from his pouch, and he was like, well, your hair defies the laws of gravity, and I don't really like things that defy science. And Kakashi was like, Naruto, don't tell me you're going to. Naruto looked at Kakashi menacingly with the razor in his hand as he put it on his head and began shaving away chunks of Kakashi's hair. And Kakashi, and Sasuke and Sakura were just staring in horror, and until Kakashi was completely bald, and you know, it was basically like smooth on top of his head, and Sasuke actually let out a snort, like he was trying to hold in his laugh desperately, but then it failed, and he actually let out a snort of laughter, and Sakura was like, "Naruto Baka, how dare you disrespect Sensei like that?" And Naruto's like, "I was just teaching him a lesson, Sakura. Don't worry." And Kakashi was like, he was really really pissed off at Naruto, and Naruto was like, and he was like, "Why you?" And Naruto was like, "No, no, 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 no. Do you want me to release you from the seal or not?" And Kakashi, poor Kakashi, was like, he relented and he just slumped, and he slumped forward, and Naruto released the seal, and of course Kakashi was like, in a depressed tone, he was like, "Meet me on the roof in 5 minutes." And Naruto just body flickered up there at the same time as Kakashi, while Sasuke and Sakura took the stairs. And Sasuke and Sakura were like, "Since when was Naruto like that?" And Sasuke was actually unconsciously smiling, remembering the incident with Kakashi. And Sakura was like, "Sasuke-kun, you're smiling at me?" And then Sasuke obviously was like, "Oh, sorry about that." And he, went to his usual like brooding posture, and then they all met up on the roof, and this is where I'm going to end for today, guys. In the next part, we're going to talk about the bell test and all that shit, and maybe even the Zabuza arc. So, anyways, if you like this video, please give it a like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and um, comment down any suggestions you have for future what ifs, and comment down your thoughts about this video and any ideas you have for the story. And thanks for watching, guys.